Customers have expectations, and we must not just meet them, we must actually, if ideally, exceed them if we want them to come back again and again and disregard competition. So our customers understand what great service is because great companies out there have taught them what it is today. I'm Shep Hyken. I'm a customer service and experience expert. That's what I'm known for. I've been doing this for a long, long time. My business actually started in 1983, but if you go back to when I was just 12 years old, I started my first business. I worked in maintenance. I worked in a retail convenience store. I worked in restaurants. Anyway, graduated college, and I said, what am I going to do with my life? And I ventured into the idea of being a public speaker, a professional speaker. And over the years, my expertise in the whole concept of service and experience, which is what I was drawn to from the very beginning, has evolved. And here we are today talking to you. What could be better? So let's go back to that first magic show I did at age 12. I came home and my mom said, you're going to write a thank you note to the people that just paid you money to perform that show. I said, great idea. Then my dad said, a week from now, I want you to call the parents. I want you to thank them again. And I want you to ask them, how do they like the show? And then if they say they like the show, ask them what specifically they liked. What were their favorite tricks? And I had no idea that this was customer service and customer experience. This is about showing appreciation, then getting feedback, and then acting on the feedback and creating a better process, or in this case, a better show. Process improvement, show improvement, if you will. So that was customer service to me. I started learning this when I was a little kid. And my parents taught it to me that when I did finally get out of college and I was looking for what I wanted to do for the rest of my life, once I decided to become a professional speaker, and by the way, I saw a couple of amazing speakers and I thought, I have the entertainment background. I love business. I bet I could do that. I will tell you the first clients that I was able to get, I went to the newsstand that's still there, by the way, many, many years later. There's still this little local newsstand. And I bought every business magazine that they had, which was like 5. I tore out the full page ads. I went to the library. This is long before the internet. And I started making a list of the companies. I found the executives in the companies I needed to call, their phone numbers, and I just picked up the phone and started smiling and dialing and introducing myself and asking, hey, do you use speakers at your meetings? And some of them would say, yes, we do. And I go, well, tell me about it. And they'd tell me, I go, well, this is what I can do. And actually, some of them hired me. It was amazing. And that's how the business started. Talk about customer service and experience at company meetings, industry meetings, conferences, all over the world. But it's actually more than that. While my studies and research have created a good speech to go on stage, and that's a big part of how we generate income here at our business, we also have training. So I took all of my content that I've written about in books and do from the stage, and I've created training programs around it. And we have trainers that actually go out and deliver that content at a deeper dive. And in addition to that, we've put a lot of this content on an online virtual platform where companies can now scale out customer service training to literally thousands of employees. They don't have to assemble everybody in one room. They can, and this is really important. More importantly, in my world, is what do we do to create an experience that makes people want to buy from us and want to keep buying from us over and over again? So we help our clients retain their customers. And if you want to call it a problem, we help them avoid losing customers. Customers have expectations, and we must not just meet them, we must actually, if ideally, exceed them if we want them to come back again and again and disregard competition. So our customers understand what great service is because great companies out there have taught them what it is today. You look at the rock stars in the customer service and experience world. Here in the U.S., companies, everybody talks about Amazon and Apple and Zappos and famous hotel chains and Chick-fil-A, which is a great restaurant that sells chicken, but they do it in such a way that just people love going there. Let's talk about exceeding expectations. The idea is we want to meet them. I talk about creating customer amazement. And the idea behind amazement is to exceed expectations by just a tiny, tiny little bit. Once in a while, you have the chance to go over the top and, maybe you overhear a customer. If you're in a restaurant, you're a server, you overhear two of your guests talking, for example, of it's their anniversary. So you surprise them with a dessert and a candle. Well, that's above what's expected. That's more than exceeding expectations. The fact that I call you back quickly, the fact that I show up on time, they always do this. Well, those to me, those are table stakes, but so many people are impressed when you just do the things you're supposed to do right, if you will. So that's an underarching philosophy of my idea of how to manage that customer experience consistently and predictably above average. I mean, maybe I was too young and naive to realize it when I was in my early 20s starting my business, but I didn't have any fear of picking up the phone. I didn't care if somebody said we're not interested. We've got to move on. And that's the way I guess that would be a big challenge, is I had to get my head wrapped around why I'm doing what I'm doing, the belief in what I'm doing, and the confidence to put myself out there. Other challenges that have happened over the years is we look at the economic downturns a couple, 3 times throughout my career. Some of them put a lot of the people who I know in this business, they put them out of business, some of those people, because they didn't adapt. But I realized that if times get tough, and they are getting tough right now, economically, we're in a tough spot worldwide. We have no problem picking up the phone and calling people and saying, hey, remember us? Remember what we did for you? Think you need to be thinking about it again. And I think that's a challenge, is to recognize sometimes we've got to go back to basics, no matter how well something is working, to ensure the continued success of our company. As an entrepreneur, I have freedom. I have freedom to choose if I want to work, who I want to work with. And I say freedom. If I can be successful in my business, that's one of the huge perks. I get to choose to work. I get to choose to take vacations. I get to choose who I get to hire and work with. I get to choose the companies and clients. If I am against doing business with them, I've actually stopped doing business with the company because I didn't like their ethical approach to their customers. So there you go. That's an overstatement, but the word I think that comes to mind is, as an entrepreneur, it gives me freedom. People would rather be guaranteed income, and they love that consistency and predictability. As an entrepreneur, you don't always get that consistency and predictability. And I don't work for somebody else that guarantees me a paycheck. There have been times that, hey, for the last 6 weeks, we haven't had any sales. What's going on here? People would get scared over that. I think, there's always that fear of the unknown. And I think one of the things that entrepreneurs deal with is, they create their own business. It's their own. And success and failure lies upon an entrepreneur's shoulders. For me, I started at such a young age and I built my business. There's no doubt that I fear, how long can this go on? And I've been fearing that now for almost 38 years. I don't really think of many fears that I have. I just look at them as, okay, let's deal with this. Let's move forward. I think the first achievement was deciding to start my own business. And the fact that I was able to make a success of it is probably my biggest achievement as an entrepreneur, is that I have a successful business. There's different milestones throughout my career, the different clients that I've worked with. If you look at some of the clients, the list of my clients, it's the major companies throughout the world, the biggest Fortune 50, Fortune 100 companies I've had opportunities to work with. My books have been successful. I've had books hit the Wall Street Journal list, the New York Times list. You know, these. In my speaking industry, I was awarded. I was so honored that they inducted me into the Hall of Fame for professional speakers for lifetime achievement in the industry. So these are all great milestones. I think that at the end of the day, probably my biggest favorite achievement is when the customer, client, if you will, calls up and says, "We'd like to have you back." I think that's probably my favorite moment that happens over and over again. That's how I know we're doing a great job. I work with clients and we sit down and we say, what are the biggest complaints that your customers make? And how often do you hear them? And then the third part of the exercise is, okay, let's talk about how to resolve them. What are we doing to mitigate or eliminate the problem? And I think many times, and it's human nature, we accept certain problems and issues and things that happen to us. And we need to say, hey, if this happens and we don't like it, and then it happens again, what am I doing to cause that? And let's get to the root of the cause and eliminate it. And I think that's where a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of businesses fall short. I think the secret is go to your friends and that'll give you confidence. Go to people who don't know you that well and ask for honest feedback and they'll give you reality. And if reality and what your friends are saying start to mesh up, then I think you should, take a look at this as a viable opportunity. It may be exactly what people out there need. It may be exactly what a product that you're thinking about in your mind could be successful as a result of that. So remember, friends will tell you what you want to hear, and people you don't know will tell you often what you need to hear. If the two of them are gelling together, you might have the opportunity to have success. If you can actually come up with something that hasn't been thought about before, that is a new twist on something, that's the road less traveled. That's the path that has not been beaten. And you may find greater success in that. You look at Sir Richard Branson of Virgin, who has had, several hundred companies that he's started, founded, created. Some of them are very, very successful. Everybody knows the airline, Virgin Air. One of the reasons he got into the airline business, not because he said, oh, there's a lot of successful people in the airline business. He saw the airline business could be a viable business, but he knew that he could do it better than those other big airlines. And, he's from London and the UK, so he was looking at British Air and all these other large carriers. And he said he didn't like the way these airlines were treating their customers. So he set out to create an airline that would not only be successful financially, but would make customers want to just fly on them over and over again, create that loyalty. So he took the product that was already there and he made it better. If you don't have a plan, if you don't have a design in place, if you think a brand is just putting a logo on a background, you're wrong. It takes planning, and you want to design an experience that your customers are going to want to enjoy. You want to create a brand that, from the standpoint of the senses, look, feel, touch, is acceptable to the majority of people out there in the target that you're in. And if you don't take the time to properly do this, you're making a big mistake. If you set out to put the customer first, which is what companies like Amazon and Apple and so many of the rock star companies have done, the moment you break from that is where you're eroding your brand. Hey, I want to thank everybody for watching the Founder X series by Designhill. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found benefit. I look forward to seeing you down the road. If you'd like to learn more about what I do, go to hyken.com. That's HYKEN.com. We have a great YouTube channel with hundreds of video tips on customer service and experience. You can get that at shep.tv.